Devas. And the Devas are all that is, incarnate, manifesting. As I said, you're also Deva. One of the great joys that you'll have as you develop your perceptions is actually to work with the little Devas in your body. Like the little while ago, I had to get some of my teeth fixed, capped, and there was a very beautiful little scene because there were little Devas in my mouth making dentine, and then this bigger Deva, the one that looks after them, got them all in a little line, and she said she thanked them very much for doing all the work, and then she released them because they had other jobs to do, and they're so tiny little children, and they're all looking up, and they were joyous. They went off into their other types of work. And what I'm looking forward to is when all of you get better Deva vision, so that you can begin to work with the Devas in your body. And this is again magic. It's the Devas that if you wish, cause sickness, cause health. You work with Devas for perfect health. And all of you are working towards perfect health. The thing that stops perfect health are normally two things, or a number of things. One, 95% of people's sicknesses are emotions or mental emotions. And what do the emotions do? Well, when people are frightened or fearful or they're depressed or something like that, they normally eat. They go out and buy snacks. They want to, or some other people sort of get a bottle of alcohol and take it into their body, or they'll take drugs or whatever. They're so, that's the way they try to look at. But that is sickness causing. It's the food. And in my meditation books, my meditation book, I talk about straight away what's the relationship between meditation and health, and I say everything. Meditation and proper meditation is the way to perfect health, and then I give certain dietary considerations based on fasting and things like that, because what that really is that you're learning how to work with your Devas, not so drugging your bodies with all sorts of energies. And in other words, devic substance that's not intended for your body, the greys and the browns and aberrated energies, but with that which is wholesome sounding. All of you have probably heard of the phrase "the music of the spheres," and that music of the spheres is an orchestration, a harmony, a beauty, a joy. That the planets revolve around each other and revolve around the sun. They create this music, and everything in nature is the music of the spheres, except for where human beings manifest. We cause the noise. We cause the disruptions of the sound. We cause the cacophonies of ugliness in sound. We pollute and poison and destroy the environment. And it's with our callous thinking, our, bigotries, our emotions, right? And of course, with our materialistic science and the materialists that govern us, it's industrial poisons on a mass scale that, the tractors and bulldozers and the things they pull and destroy the trees and harvest the plants for this and that. They kill the microfauna, the megafauna, the rainforests in order to grow beef, soybeans, or whatever it is that you'll understand that this whole callous aspect to nature, and that energy reverberates inwards, and eventually it must cause sickness and disease. I won't go, one could go into the causes of plagues, locusts, famines, all of these things, you know, like this COVID-19 that this whole world is scared of, where's the karma for that? Where does the karma come from? And of course, I call it scam, a scamdemic, because it's been planned by billionaires to make them more money, but it's still a real sickness and disease. I never look at the Western news. I look at Iran, Russia, China, whatever, to see what's really happening. And if there's a COVID-19 there and I'm busy trying to deal with that, then it's a real thing. It's not something that's made up by Western newspapers, but it's also something else. But what I'm trying to get to is that all of these types of things, you know, like bubonic plague, the smallpox epidemic that for instance destroyed the Indians, and a lot of other people. The Roman Empire was almost destroyed by smallpox. If you ever read your Roman history, you know, in the 3rd century AD and things like that, that's, you know, these are the result of emotions, mass emotions, callous indifference to nature. There's the wanton destruction of nature's resources now must have its reciprocal action in human consciousness, in the human civilization, in the human psyche. You, as yogins, are trying to live in harmony with everything around you. You are trying to produce the music of the spheres. When this musical sound rings out through your entire body, there's no disharmony there, then you have perfect health. Wherever there's a clashing of noise, there's sickness, disease. It's basically that. And so, you know, some of you are musicians, or you know probably much more about music than I. But the fact is that that external beautiful sound must be internalized, and this is the yogic way. Nothing in your mind, nothing in your emotional body, nothing in your physical body is disharmonious. Nothing clashes. Everything is vibrant and beautiful. Now, you understand the clashing noise when you have arguments with people, or even arguments with yourself. You can see if you're irritated or depressed or anxious and worried about this or that, then these are clashing sounds. It's hard, of course, not to be anxious or worried or depressed if this materialistic world and the rulers around us stealing everything they can from us in order to make us serfs and slaves to the billionaires. But we then have to come and still think like yogins, still work out the right, the proper solution. And as a group like this, we will learn over time to help each other more and more, whatever is possible. But unfortunately, our group, of course, we've got our brothers and sisters in France that live in a community, which was great. Their teacher had the foresight to build that community, a refuge that supports all of them, but they have to follow certain rules. And the rules are not necessarily what I would impose upon monks and nuns, but that's the rules they follow. But you can understand that type of community sense, that community spirit is still what we generally as a group have to manifest more, even though we are spread quite thin at this stage all over the world. Now, I'm talking and using the concept of music of the spheres, and by that I mean divas. Now, you can see it's all in many ways divas. The temples that we are all developing are all dedicated to the mother of the world, or effectively of the Diva kingdom. And in my book on Shambhala, in volume 1, when I'm talking about the mother of the world, I actually call her the 5th Kumara. Sanat Kumara is one of the Kumaras, but And the Kumaras themselves are the Dhyani Buddhas for our planet, and she's the fifth. And so she manifests as the attribute of Amoghasiddhi's all-accomplishing wisdom. And this energy is green. I go a little bit more into detail about this, her evolution in relationship to that, but I just want to tie her in, and this concept of all-accomplishing wisdom with what you're trying to do. Now, what is this? This wisdom is, again, what I'm getting to, I suppose, when I'm using this all-accomplished wisdom, when I'm using the concept of the harmony of the spheres, I'm also touching upon mantra. Now, you understand the word mantra, it's like a stream. We know it as words of command, of control, of substance is the way people normally think of it, or of consciousness. But mantra is really the control of Divas through sound harmonies, through melodies of speech, but projected via the mind. But the mind is not emotional. The mind is clear, calm reason. I won't go fully into this concept of mantra because I want to stick with the main theme, in a sense, is the harmony that is musical. Right? Now, all of you know of music. We all play music. We have different types of musical styles. I like to think with the harmony of music in terms of classical music and certain types of classical music. But what I'm trying to get to is that first, each one of you are being taught now to harmonize your body, speech, and mind, to cleanse them of some scaras that are not appropriate, of the cliches, to make your these three vehicles of yours in rapport with each other, to sing to each other. There's no clashing sounds. The next is that the mind must dominate. The mind must be the master of it all, not the body. The body becomes an automaton. It takes care of itself once the mind is rightly focused and the mind is fully in control of the emotions. Now, once you've got your physical body worked out and you're putting the input into your physical body, the right type of information, for instance, these spiritual teachings, whatever you need to survive on the physical plane, your particular work or job that you have to do, that's also information that allows you to properly interrelate with society, of which we're part of. But you're controlling your emotions so that no longer causes distortion, but also the body then is fed by the appropriate nutrients, the proper foods that do not pollute, destroy, dam up, or poison it in any way. And that then brings us to being vegetarians and to become more and more clean vegetarian life. Some of us think in terms of becoming vegans. I don't suggest any of us become fruitarians or breatharians, but we're all tending towards that type of concept of pure foods. We don't clog up our bodies with intoxicating drugs. A minuscule, we try to avoid doctors and their poisons as much as possible. Of course, this whole society is 100% indoctrinated by pharmaceutical drugs, and I think that that's I had to look up the word bee's knees probably the other day to properly get an idea of what was meant by it, bee's knees of this particular society. And of course, I discovered it's got to do with the way that bees collect pollen, and they collect pollen in their legs or their knees, and then they bring it to their hive. And that's where this concept of bee's knees as ye butte, as we would call it in Australia, comes about. Now, so your physical body is becoming more and more in harmony with each other. Those of you that share relationships with others, your relationships are working to become as harmonious as possible. That's the basis of love, is it not? To integrate two people to produce a child. The child can be a physical plane child, or it can be the child of your creative work, your music, your harmony, or whatever that you working together to produce on the physical plane. Now, that harmony is the next thing. Then there's the harmony of your environment, your immediate environment that you're living in. You're trying to make that as aesthetically pleasing and as beautiful as you can, so that everything around you is singing a song. Right? This music of the spheres from within is starting to move without you. And as you speak to people, you're always working as a bodhisattva to improve their lives. Of course, most people are too dull in consciousness to understand what on earth you're about, but you can always give them some word of advice sometimes, and that helps clarify their minds. Being joyous is a good way to be. Just simply be joyous. Smile, keep a smile on your face. I don't always do that, but it's the type of way that you can interrelate with society. It's always something good to say hello, and I started my emails with dear, because it's that's the way I was brought up. When I was younger, we always did that, but nowadays people try to avoid that. But we're all dear to each other. Right, we all sweethearts, we all lovers to each other. So we'll not use this introduction. So this external life then around you, and so you look in your rooms and whatever, and you try not to keep a mess. You try to keep a harmony as much as possible. And so for women, often that's much easier than for men. Men are normally lazier in this, some are not, but so the next step then is you building a temple, right? The temple is sacred, it's sanctified, it's the temple of God, it's the living temple of the Dharma, right? The Dharma is breathing within you, the Dharma is oozing without of you. Everything is speaking Dharma. People don't understand it around you because they're so self-engrossed in their own selves, they can't see anything. But you are oozing Dharma. Your song is manifesting. The Devas that are incarnating into you, therefore, are of a much higher caliber, are much lighter, much brighter, singing stronger songs. And out of you is streaming the Devas of grosser substance. One thing also with regards to this is when those types of Devas, the Devas of grosser substance stream out of you, from whatever center they're streaming out of you, there's a point of sickness, a point of pain or suffering. And it's for you to sometimes understand that you're actually cleansing